Kelvin, a 25-year-old internet fraudster, lived a life of luxury funded by his illicit activities. He had a large mansion filled with high-end furniture, flashy cars, and designer clothes. But the centerpiece of his life was Scott, his massive and loyal dog. Scott wasn't just a pet, he was Kelvin's closest companion, and the two were inseparable. Kelvin spared no expense on Scott, from government meals to regular grooming and medical care. Every Friday, Kelvin made a spectacle of his wealth at upscale clubs. He ordered the most expensive wines, popped champagne, and entertained a crowd of admirers drawn to his affluence. One such Friday night, Kelvin was celebrating a big score after duping a foreign woman out of her life savings. Amid the revelry, his attention was drawn to a striking woman in a red dress sitting alone at a corner table. Curious and intrigued, Kelvin approached her. "Hey, pretty, can I sit?" Amanda looked up, gave a faint smile, and nodded. "Yes, you may." Their conversation was brief. Kelvin proposed they live together, offering her 50,000 naira for her time, to which she agreed. They left the club and drove to Kelvin's mansion. Upon arrival, Scott ran up to greet Kelvin, his tail wagging enthusiastically. Amanda recoiled in shock at the sight of the massive dog. "You never told me you had a dog this big," she exclaimed, stepping back. Kelvin chuckled. "Relax, this is Scott, my best friend." Though uneasy, Amanda followed Kelvin into the lavish living room. Kelvin excused himself to change while Scott followed him around, a shadow of loyalty. Amanda couldn't help but marvel at the dog's size and demeanor, wondering why Kelvin was so attached to him. As the night processed, Amanda suggested they move to the reason why she was there. But Kelvin's response took her by surprise. "You are not here for me," Kelvin said, leaning back with a sly grin. "I brought you here for Scott. I will pay you 1 million naira if you entertain him." Amanda froze, her face darkening with anger and disbelief. What? Are you insane? I am not doing anything with an animal." Kelvin shrugged. "Oh, come on, come off it. It's a one-time thing, and the money will be yours. See, I will give you the sum of 1 million naira like I earlier said, if you can sleep with my dog, Scott. Just think about it." Furious, Amanda stormed out into the night, but the thought of the money lingered. Back home, she wrestled with her conscience. She needed the money to sustain her lavish lifestyle, yet the proposition disgusted her. The next day, desperation won. Amanda returned to Kelvin's mansion, determined to go through with the deal. Kelvin welcomed her with a knowing smirk, unfazed by her earlier outrage. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Yes, but transfer the money first," Amanda demanded. Kelvin shook his head. "Relax, babe. After the job is done, that is the deal." Reluctantly, Amanda agreed. Kelvin led her to a private room where Scott was summoned. What followed was a grim and degrading act that left Amanda emotionally shattered and Kelvin satisfied. Once it was over, Kelvin transferred the money. Amanda left, clutching her phone, filled with a mixture of shame and despair. She had crossed a line she never imagined, all for money. Amanda's life spiraled downward in the weeks following her disturbing encounter with Scott. Though she initially managed to push the memory aside and return to her usual nightlife of clubbing and hookups, the consequences of her actions soon manifested in ways she never anticipated. One morning, Amanda woke up with a sharp stabbing pain in her stomach. Clutching her stomach, she stumbled to the bathroom only to discover she was bleeding. Her panic mounted as she realized this wasn't a menstrual cycle. Shaking, she rushed back to her room and called her closest friend, Anna. Hannah, please come over. I am in so much pain. Amanda pleaded before ending the call abruptly. Within minutes, Anna arrived and was alarmed to see Amanda doubled over, sweat dripping from her face. Without wasting time, Anna rushed her to the nearest hospital. After several tests and examinations, the doctor delivered a grim diagnosis. Amanda had contracted several bacterial infections, likely due to exposure to something unnatural or unsanitary. Anna assumed Amanda's reckless lifestyle was to blame, believing it to be a result of her frequent and unprotected encounters with strangers. Amanda remained silent, unwilling to reveal the truth about her night with Kelvin and his dog Scott. After receiving medication and being discharged, Amanda tried to move on, but her health continued to decline. Days turned into weeks and she noticed alarming changes in her body. A foul-smelling discharge began to seep from her private areas, an odor so pervasive that even the strongest deodorant barely masked it. She resorted to wearing sanitary pads constantly to soak up the discharge and control the smell, but the situation only worsened. The infection seemed to ravage her body and her once vibrant appearance faded. Her skin grew pale and she lost significant weight, becoming gaunt and fragile. Amanda avoided social gatherings and nightclubs, afraid of the judgmental stare and whispers that followed her wherever she went. Her life had become a nightmare. The stench, the shame, and the physical pain consumed her. Amanda spent countless nights sobbing, replaying the moment she agreed to Kelvin's sinister proposition. Her deteriorating health eventually forced her to seek help again. But this time, the doctor's findings were more severe. The infection had spread throughout her reproductive system and her condition was critical. Amanda's life was weighed down by shame, regret, and an infection that seems to rob her of her dignity and will to live. Desperate for help, she decided to confront Kelvin, the man whose actions had led to her tragic state. When she arrived at his mansion, her frail and pale figure shocked Kelvin. He hardly recognized the once vibrant Amanda. "What's wrong with you?" he asked, a mixture of surprise and concern etched on his face. Amanda poured out her heart, explaining how her encounter with Scott had destroyed her health and left her fighting for her life. She spoke of the unbearable stench, the pain, and the doctor's grim warning. She would need a surgery costing 10 million naira to survive. Kelvin's concern quickly turned to anger. "What are you saying? My dog is the most hygienic creature you will ever meet. He eats the best food, gets regular checkups at the best vet in the country, and is cleaner than most humans," Kelvin raged. Amanda couldn't argue. She simply broke down in tears, pleading for help. "Please, Kelvin, I'm begging you. If I don't get this surgery, I will die." But Kelvin was unmoved. "I paid you what we agreed on that night. Why should I spend another 10 million naira on you? You should have thought of the consequences before agreeing to it." With that, Kelvin dragged Amanda out of his house and slammed the door. Broken and hopeless, Amanda collapsed outside, crying until there was no tears left. As she walked aimlessly down the street, lost in her misery, a car screeched to a halt inches from her. "Jesus Christ!" the driver exclaimed as Amanda fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. The man, Pastor Chris, rushed out of his car and helped Amanda to her feet. Concerned, he guided her into his car and took her to his home. There, he and his wife gently probed her about what had happened. Through her tears, Amanda revealed everything: the encounter with Kelvin, the deal involving Scott, and her current plight. The couple listened with compassion, their hearts breaking for her. "You need help, Amanda," Pastor Chris said. "But more than anything, you need to know God loves you. No matter what you've done, He still cares about you." The couple didn't just offer her kind words. They immediately arranged for her surgery, covering all costs. The operation was a success and Amanda's health began to improve. She gained weight, her strength returned, and the stench that had plagued her disappeared. During her recovery, Pastor Chris introduced Amanda to God's love and forgiveness. Touched by their kindness and the miracle of her second chance, Amanda gave her life to Christ. She began attending church regularly, finding peace and purpose in her faith. Kelvin, on the other hand, remained unaffected by her plight, continuing with his fraudulent and deviant ways. But Pastor Chris wasn't done. Determined to bring justice, he reported Kelvin's activities to the authorities. An investigation revealed Kelvin's numerous fraudulent schemes and his exploitation of both humans and animals. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud and animal abuse. Scott was rescued by animal welfare organization and placed in a safe environment where he could recover from his abusive circumstances, environment where he could live a better life. Kelvin was sentenced to a long prison term, his life of luxury crumbling around him. Kelvin's story became a cautionary tale in his community, a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked greed and moral corruption. Meanwhile, Amanda flourished. She became an advocate for young women, warning them against greed and poor choices while sharing her testimony of redemption. Amanda's story became a cautionary tale among her peers in the nightlife scene, illustrating the dead consequences of compromising one's dignity and morality for money. Her past mistake no longer defined her. Amanda had found a new life, one of peace, faith, and purpose, and she never looked back. The end. Hey lovelies, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Blessing Matthew. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are fine. If this is your first time I'm seeing you, please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like the video. Do not forget to drop me a comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. And always remember, I love you so much. Thank you so much, and God bless you.